What up, ladies and gentlemen? Here with an awesome new interview. Uh, Again, we're going out our with the June July series, and I'm extremely excited about this interview. Here with Mr. Steve Dawson. Uh, just came out with a new record, Ghosts. Uh, I hate to say country. Again, country is a genre like umbrella almost. Uh, that encapsulates so many things that it just screws around with my mind. So I hate to say country, but for the sakes of this introduction, we'll go with country. Um, Country artist ish, soft rock artist ish, singer songwriter. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, how's your day going so far?
Pretty mellow. I just had breakfast and, uh, just kind of just slowly waking up over here, even though it's noon.
Yeah, I hear you. My schedule down in Georgia has been I will my usually I wake up at 4 p.m. and then I go to sleep at 4 a.m. and
Yeah.
then so these interviews have been kind of messing with my schedule, but it's okay. I'm very happy to be here. Uh, and so let's talk about your new record, right?
Okay.
Ghosts. When you talk about ghosts, do you mean it in a literal sense, as in like ghosts, or in kind of like a metaphorical sense? And then if so, what ghosts are you trying to tackle in your new record?
I think it's more metaphorical in terms of like memory. But I mean, it's not ghosts that you can see, but I've had people over the last couple of years that I'm close to pass away. I do feel like their presence is around. So it's not like a Casper the ghost where you can see it and it's haunting you, but their spirits are definitely hovering around. And then there's sort of ghosts in sort of dreamlike ghosts or ghosts of memory from childhood, all that kind of stuff. So it's maybe a little of both, I guess.
Interesting. And do you think, like, I guess music brings you to peace with your ghosts?
Oh gosh, I don't know about that. It's an exploration. It's a it's a way to kind of come to terms with things and try to understand things. Maybe there's a little bit of peace. I don't know if that's not really the goal,
Mhm.
if there is a goal. It's more just trying to sort of explore it and understand it.
Okay, okay. And I want to go back a little bit to our country discussion at the beginning, right? What kind of artist would you consider yourself in the genre world?
Well, it's complicated because all of my sort of adult life as I've been playing music, there's been a sort of uneasy connection with country music. Although I love classic country music, so don't get me wrong, but in terms of like record companies and how they market things, it's always been a confusion from what I do because there's a country influence for sure, but there's a lot of rock influence. There's a lot of soul music, and just singer songwriter music. So it's a real combination. I don't fit into any specific genre. When I was first starting out in the '90s, it was called alternative country, or roots rock is what they called it then, roots rock. Then it was alternative country through the '90s and early 2000s, and now it's Americana. So it's all these ways to try to explain things that have a lot of influences. But yeah,
Awesome, yeah. My gripe with even things like roots rock is that you'll have bands like the Wallflowers, which are Jacob Dylan, right?
right,
And then you'll have you. And there's certain connections to both groups, right? But at the same time, they're so far in
right,
terms of type of
right.
music and that kind of sound that oh, we need to figure that out, Maybe we need to like hire three people and just have them on full time figuring all this stuff out for the rest of the music industry.
Well, genre descriptions, I mean, I think they've been useless
I
for probably
completely
20
agree.
kind of 20 years, unless someone's really playing like blues. You know, someone's like, I'm playing Chicago blues and I'm doing it in the Muddy Waters style. But other than that, it's just music. You know, people
Yeah.
are just making music and expressing themselves through all these. We're all exposed to all this different music that we all love, and it doesn't come out as a specific lane of a genre anymore. And
Mhm.
I think that's progress. I mean, that's good. That's the way it should be.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's it's hard for marketing people and programmers and stuff to, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I like to play devil's advocate always, right? Because a lot of the music I find would be through Spotify,
yeah,
and through buddies. And that's how I find a lot of interviews, just through talking. And so there's a certain aspect to me that realizes that, those kind of labels exist to help us, but at the same time, it's so fun to experiment, right? Like if you're playing blues in the style of Muddy Waters, then are you really being as creative as you could possibly be? I mean, if you're a cover band, okay, but like if you're,
right.
are you really fulfilling yourself as an artist by playing someone else's music? And maybe you are, but I don't think that's like the best road, the best pathway for like a musician, just to play what someone else has already done, just to kind of expand on that.
I mean, basically, I agree. Although I have friends that play like the music of certain eras and do it so beautifully, and their heart is fully in it. So there's definitely an art to it. I think it's just a different take. Like there's
Interesting. Yeah.
some people who strive to sort of sound unique and find a unique voice and a unique approach, and others who find their sort of artistry through trying to take something that's established and build upon it, or like just really get deep into it. So it's just a different approach, I think.
Well, I appreciate you opening my mind then, because I was not aware of that till now. So I appreciate it. Yeah, that's cool. Um, I saw that you signed to a Chicagoan label. You recorded your record in Chicago, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you worked or recorded at the Lofts before?
I've not.
You have to.
I know so many people who have, but I've never even been in there. But I would like to.
Yeah, I haven't been anywhere near Chicago, but my what's it? Someone I interviewed about 2 days ago did something at the Loft, and then I'm actually in touch with Mark Greenberg, who
Oh,
was like the
sure. Yeah.
manager. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah, I
awesome.
know.
He's like a super nice guy in the
Mark's
industry.
great. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You should have him on.
I need to.
He's he's a cool musician too. He was in a band called the Cocktails in Chicago that were like a
What an
very
awesome name
popular.
too.
So they were so fun. And he plays with 11th Dream Day occasionally when they play. But yeah, he runs the studio. He's a
I have
good
to have him
guy.
on then, yeah, because he's so cool.
Yeah.
I first met him because I was in pursuits of a Wilco interview, and I did the mistake of emailing all their contacts on the contact list because this was maybe 3 days into my interviewing career, and I was just trying to like send as much stuff out. So I
Yeah.
sent it to their publicist, their licensing people, their booking people, everyone except for their management. And
Oh.
the publicist got back to me and said no. And then Mark somehow got my email, even though I never emailed him directly, about 4 months later, and said, "Sure, let's figure it out."
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm trying to see if I can make that happen or not. Uh, but yeah, Mark's a really nice guy. You need to get to the loft.
Yeah. I like recording at a studio here called King Size.
Ooh,
That's where I recorded a bunch of my records. I really like the guy who runs the place, this guy John Abbey, who's a fantastic bass player in addition to being a recording engineer, and it just feels real comfortable over there. Um, so that's sort of my go-to, and then I have a home studio where I do a lot of stuff as well. But it is true. I would like to just go in there and do something because I've seen pictures. They have like the amount of sort of gear and guitars and keyboards they have is ridiculous. So I'd love to
it's
see that.
insane. Do you have any extra like material from Ghosts that you maybe would want to do there?
I don't. I'm kind of tapped out at the moment. I'm starting to write some new things, but I definitely don't have a surplus. So it's gonna be a little while because I gotta come up with some new songs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, do you want your next project to be kind of in the same introspective sense, like Ghosts?
That's an excellent question, and I just don't know. I don't know.
No, you don't know?
I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm thinking let's do a complete horns post-rock album, okay? Like Swans, bring
Okay.
Swans in, and
Okay.
then we're just gonna have country, two sides of the hat wearing people, right? The country and then the insane post-rockers. Like the combination. It'll be
Yeah.
like prophesized. It's the prophecy is coming true. We need to do that, okay?
I did some records with some free jazz guys, and
Ooh.
the it's called Funeral Bonsai Wedding. That was
Yeah, I heard
that
about
first
that.
record. You might like that. There's a vibraphonist called Jason Adashevitz, who's a kind of luminary of the free jazz world here, and Frank Rosales is this brilliant drummer who lives in Amsterdam now, and Jason Rebke. So the four of us made a record called Funeral Bonsai Wedding 10 years ago. That's I mean, there's no horns on it, but it's kind of sort of what you were talking about, sort of
Yeah,
country
yeah.
meets free jazz.
How would you explain free jazz to like the average United States citizen?
That's an excellent question. I think the best way would be to have them see a show because putting into words doesn't do it justice, and hearing it doesn't do it justice. You kind of have to see the interaction between the people and how they're responding to each other, and the sort of telepathy that happens. There's a sort of magical telepathy that's going on. Um, so I would say it's musicians who are great listeners responding to each other spontaneously. The the closest thing that might make it understandable to someone who has no idea what it is would be improv comedy, but it's not funny. It can be
Yeah,
funny. But where
sometimes.
they don't have a script, so they're starting from nothing. They're taking rather than a verbal cue, they're taking some musical cue from someone in the ensemble and they're just expanding upon it. Although, I mean, there's all different parts of it too, because Jason's records have compositions with beautiful melodies and structures, so it's not always just total um, freedom or improv. There's structures within. So
Beautiful way to describe it. Um, Even at the gigs I've been lucky to attend, which I've never been to a free jazz show yet, but I've been lucky enough to see some incredible musicians, and it happens more with like the smaller venues. But when you see like the whole band just kind of in sync, it's so amazing. And with Swans, um, Mr. Gira is kind of like their front man, yeah,
mm-hmm.
in the sense that he's kind of like conducting the orchestra, which is so cool, and that's one way of doing it. And then
Yeah.
like Dinosaur Jr., for example, which I couldn't even see them because it was packed, like a club
Okay.
packed. I was in the way back, 5 minutes to go before the show. But even through like the little glimpse I got of them, you can tell that they're all just like the front man is just the guitarist is like stoic, just staring into the crowd. And then the guy invited me, Mr. Barlow, their bassist, is kind of like rocking out, and then the drummer, Mr. Murph, is kind of like holding it steady, and they don't even need to look at each other, and they got it. And there's a lot of improvisation, that kind of music, and it's
Sure.
still they're holding it down, they got it, even when there's no, it's off the rails, and that's so beautiful,
Yeah.
extraordinary, because you don't see that in I guess it needs to open your eyes so you can see that more in daily life. It's
Mm.
just so cool.
Well, good for you for noticing that
Appreciate
and
it.
being sensitive enough to pick up on that.
So, what other projects are you currently working on then, I guess? Is it just
Well, this record is just out, so it's kind of the
yeah.
main thing I'm focusing on now. Though I record people's records here at my studio. So I've been doing a lot of mixing, and there's a bunch of records coming out. I tend to do like singer songwriter type records. So there's a woman who named Lisa Medina whose record just came out. She had a release show a couple of weeks ago, and it's a beautiful record. And Emily Hayden Lee has a record coming out. So I think beyond my own record, that's kind of what I'm working on.
Awesome. Have you played your release show yet?
Yeah, it was just last Sunday,
Oh,
and
awesome. How'd it go?
it was so great, so great.
At
I
the
had everyone
space,
from the
right?
record. I had a horn section, a bunch of singers. It was really really something.
That's beautiful. And then for us Southerners who kind of want to experience that, I guess the only way you'd be able to get down here is like being a opener for a band, correct?
Possibly. I mean, it's we've played in Atlanta, but it's been a very long time. Um,
Do you remember where you
we're,
played?
what's the one that's upstairs? Is it?
That there's the loft. Not the loft. Crap. It is the loft at center stage. That's where Dinosaur Jr. was too.
No, it's not that big of a
No.
place.
Eddie's attic.
Yeah, that one.
There we go. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, that's nice. Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. That was fun. But that was quite a while ago. My wife and I sing together, and we've sung together in the band Dolly Varden, and for so many years. So we're going to do a tour of the East Coast
East
um,
Coast.
in October. But as far south, the furthest south we'll make it is like Raleigh.
Oh, nice,
So
nice.
we're going to do from like Boston area down through Raleigh. So we won't make it as far south as Georgia, I'm afraid.
Well, next time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know if you know Charlie Crockett, but you got. I think you'd be a great opener for Charlie Crockett. He's very
I know that name.
he's opening minds for the geezers in the country scene, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's putting a twist on country, but still it's like George Strait meets Luke Bryan in a sense, but it's not as commercialized.
Okay.
He just played a show at Atlanta, and I have no money, so there's no chance I could see that. But uh, I think you'd be a great opener for him. That would be awesome. If I ever interview him,
Yeah, yeah. Tell him.
I'll connect him for sure.
Yeah.
But are there any other bands you may want to like open for or singers?
Um. Well, really, anyone that would have me. um. I'm a big fan of like Waxahachie. I
Oh
love
yeah,
her. I
yeah,
love
yeah.
her songwriting.
And Mount
Although
Erie.
huh?
I could see you working with Mount Erie.
Mm-hmm. And all the Boy Genius gals. I
And, you know,
love all
Julian
of
Baker's
them.
just going on a little tour.
I saw, yeah, I think she's playing here at Thalia Hall.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah.
Um, give me a second. My mom's calling for me. I'm in an interview. Sorry about that. My gosh. I'm sorry. What was I saying? I'm trying to get an interview with Mrs. Baker actually.
Oh,
Whether that happens or not, it's a different story. But yeah, boy Genius is really something, isn't it?
incredible. Incredible songs. I just, yeah.
I couldn't
I'm,
get into it when they were actually a band, but now that
yeah.
they've, you know, kind of dispersed, I've been listening through their discography. It's some beautiful music. It's really nice music.
They might do another one. It seems like they they all get something out of it and they sing so beautifully together. I wouldn't be
I know.
surprised if they make another record at some point as the trio.
I hope
But
so
yeah,
too.
all three of them make just great records.
And you would definitely be a perfect opener for them.
I don't know about
That would be
that.
really nice. I mean, it's like the because you have some really rowdy songs too, but I would say if you could mix between soft or kind of calmish and then rowdy, it'd be perfect right before a Boy Genius show, you know? That'd be very nice. And now if you tour with Boy Genius, you just have to come to Atlanta
Well, sure.
because we get skipped out a lot.
Oh, really?
I think last time they played a festival, which is, you
Huh.
know, always is not great if you want to see like a longer set. But You gotta get him to do a full showdown here, okay?
Okay.
Okay, nice. So speaking of jazz, right? What are your like jazz to goes? I guess when you're looking at your record collection, what is that quintessential jazz album that you pick out and you're like, that's the one?
It depends on the mood, I guess.
Ooh. So what if you're just like, what if you're just really chillaxed? You're trying to relax. It's been a stressful night. You want to listen to some
Maybe
what?
like Dexter Gordon or one of those Miles Davis quintet records
Oh
on
yeah.
Prestige. Um,
What's it?
if I
What's the bassist with that kind of weird name? I'm trying to think of him. Crap. It's somewhere in my brain. I must have lost it. Um, there's a really nice jazz bassist from like the 30s or 40s,
oh,
and I forget. It's so weird. It's like Strongest or something. I don't remember his name though.
I don't know.
But he was incredible. Anyways, I continue. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, I used to work for a very long time in a record store that sold mostly jazz records,
Oh,
jazz and blues and soul music, and yeah, I love so much of it. I love the stuff from the 20s, Fletcher Henderson, and the early Duke Ellington stuff,
mhm.
Count Basie. I love a lot of the singers,
I
and
really like the static in a sense of like the early recordings jazz because I really think it adds to like the confusion. Like sometimes I'm listening to a really wild jazz record from those times, and it's like there's no cohesion whatsoever, and the only thing that's holding it together is a static or a little bit of like little like screw
like
ups in the
the noise
records. Yeah, for the
from the
film
records.
or
Oh,
what's it?
yeah.
Not film. Tape, like from the
Yeah.
tape or whatever it is. But it just really makes it for me. That
Some of
weird.
those really old blues records are like that, like the blues from the 20s. It's hard to separate the sound of the music from the scratchiness of the because the only source material is these 78s that they were actually issued on. They don't have tapes. They didn't have tape then. So
Yeah, yeah,
people are like the CDs or whatever or the digital transfers of those are just from the 78. So yeah, there's a lot of surface noise in there like that it adds to it. Yeah, it's like snow or something.
yeah, yeah. And it's kind of like a puzzle at the same time. To kind of what's it? There was a story about a Robert Johnson, the guy who sold his soul to the devil, right? And all the recordings you can find, or this little snippets you can find, are just destroyed. And that really adds to the mysteriousness and the did it really happen? Do you think it happened? And that's a point of that's like we talk about that a lot, me and my buddies. Like we watched the movie actually. It was a great movie. And
Yeah, the Crossroads movie.
Crossroads was amazing. Uh
Yeah.
that's funny actually. His dad wasn't too keen on us watching that because it was that or Tenacious D. And he's not a big fan of Tenacious D, so he wasn't too keen on watching that, but we were at his house and it was like midnight. We are like, oh, whatever, let's just do it. And it ended up being a really nice show, or movie, great
Yeah, yeah,
movie. And
yeah.
so let's continue on that then, right? What are some movies you like to watch?
Lately, I've been watching a bunch of documentaries about music. I watched
Ooh,
the Stax one that just came out on HBO. That's was really great. I learned some stuff about
I'll have to
Stax.
watch it.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a Paul Simon one that is really good and interesting, and I learned some stuff and got inspired by him. Um, Watching the Stax one made me go back and watch the Watt Stax movie, which was about a big festival in Watts in the late 60s that the Stax put on. That
It's
was
cool.
super cool. It's Isaac Hayes and Rufus Thomas and all the Stax artists at the time. Super fun, intense.
How so?
Oh, just the politics of it and the racist
Oh
stuff
yeah,
of
yeah.
the era, and they do lots of sort of man on the street interviews. Richard Pryor is in it, being funny but also being pretty on point about the racism of the era. So it's sobering, and then the music is phenomenal. But it's definitely embedded in that film.
I am a firm believer that the best way to expose someone of their wrongdoings, or I guess hurtful thoughts, is to just mess with them and then give them like a simple question. It's like a Jordan Kepler. And sometimes I agree that he has a show where he like goes to these
Yeah, yeah, I've
Trump
seen this.
rallies. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right.
The devil's advocate in me is thinking that it's kind of screwed up. It's kind of, I mean, they're not really doing anything. They're kind of docile and they're just old. And I do, there's a little bit of me that's like, well, I doubt they really know. But at the same time, you have to kind of
Yeah,
call people out on
sure.
some misconceptions that they have.
Yeah,
And
it's
so,
tricky. I mean, I don't know if any of those people that realize that they're being played or that
yeah,
he's making them look like fools. I don't know that they even realize it.
exactly. And it's scary, honestly. It's a little scary, but I just hate that people are getting taken advantage of in such a disgustingly big way. You know, people can't pay their mortgage, can't pay their bills, but they're still doing donations to their favorite politician. That's mind blowing to me, and
Yeah,
especially that politics are so screwed up in this country. Um,
yeah.
I have a buddy in Berlin, and I asked him what his opinion is on United States politics because he has a degree in politics, and he told me it's really fucked up. That's all he said. That was his one message. It was just really funny, but kind of in the same sense of music, you know. Just have to open people's minds up a little bit, piece by piece. Um,
Yeah, I think the system has been corrupted to the point where, I mean, it,
no, I get you.
everyone has sort of figured out ways to game the system. So we're stuck with this system where there's not a lot of movement possible, and it's just getting sort of more and more absurd in how the yeah. I mean, I don't think in this election cycle anybody's happy with any of the choices, but
Nope.
what are you going to do? You know, it's like voting. You still, I think you still, I personally still think you have to vote and sort of vote, even though that, like, you know, it's this little sliver of
Yeah.
choice. It's like, well, one person is a criminal and a terrible human being, and one person is basically a continuation of the system that we have. So,
Yeah. And I want to see change. What I've noticed is I hate to get into politics, but I've noticed that uh both presidents, you know, kind of like to backtrack a little bit on some of the stuff they do, which is just
yeah,
annoys me as even though I can't vote, I can't do jack in this, but I like to watch. And it just annoys me when you'll sign a treaty for both presidents. You sign a treaty, and then 4 months later, it disappears magically. And it's
right.
just a little
I
aggravating.
think you're right though. People are craving change. It's just it's going to take a it's going to take a person who can sort of galvanize people, and that's not happening yet. But it probably will happen soon. I think there's a breaking point coming
Oh,
where
it'll happen.
the system has to sort of break open. I guess
It
it break
needs
open or just die.
it needs some Rage Against the Machine, you know? Killing in the name of what is that's what they'll be playing. And I hope it happens soon. It's the same thing with music, you know? Like I love to see these music is the opposite, where there's so many amazing artists coming out
Right.
doing this incredible stuff, and they're very politicized. And I love listening to both parties' music. Unless it's corny. I don't like corny music. But
Yeah.
both parties have reasonable things to say, and their thoughts are just as important as the next person's. And so listening to that music, you know, enlightens me in a sense that I feel I have a better grip on the political system. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to vote for like two grandpas. Like I don't think either one can know what's going on in the United States, especially in this time where people are so conflicted. People don't know what's going on. The average citizen is just so confused. So how can
Yeah.
80-year-old know what's going on. I
It's
don't
a
think they
scary
can.
time.
It certainly is. And it's, it's something's got to happen. I refuse to believe that this is how it's going to go for the next couple of years. I refuse to believe that when I can vote, we're going to be in the same predicament. It's going to be the same thing.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 14.
Oh, well, definitely by the time you're 18, things will be.
I'm hoping, but I mean, that's another election
I mean, that
cycle.
generation is dying off too. So it's like they're. I think this is both of them are the sort of last of that generation that are going to be presidential possibilities. Then
Mhm.
there'll be people more my age, people in their 60s or younger. I don't know when. I don't know. I think AOC is close to being eligible. I mean, I'd vote. I'd vote for her in a heartbeat, and that would be a. She would be a change agent because she's fired up to see a different type of society.
Yeah, I don't really know much about her, but there's a balance, between uh young and old. And I do think that there are some really mature young people. My issue is like I'm not very Republican, but I still like to hear their side. And there was this Vivek Ramaswamy, who's an Indian Republican,
Right.
which you don't see. And he had some really great thoughts until it all went crazy because he had these most insane thoughts ever. Um, and so change was going to happen, but it's in
Yeah.
a direction where is it like really worth it? And that's what I'm seeing
Yeah.
on both sides really is it's what is it changing? Like that's what and same thing in music. Um, what are you really doing? That's what you have to think about when you're making a new record or when you're making a new project and you're touring. What are you setting out to do? Because too many times I see people just setting out to set out to do something to just to do it to say that you did it.
Mm.
And so it's kind of about the destination, not about the journey, which I think it's messed up. But
Right. No, I think it's all about the journey and all about the experience and trying to
yeah,
find ways of getting closer to the sort of like truth truth of experience, truth of life, just like expressing um, human being alive. That's what I'm always trying to do, for better or for worse.
it's a beautiful music, huh? So politicized, so messed up, but we can still come together, musicians and artists, we can still kind of find that common ground in music, which is super
Well,
nice.
because music speaks directly to the heart, so it
Hmm.
bypasses a lot of that bias, and it just sinks in directly, which is probably the reason I was drawn to it.
Yeah, it's like fast, it's effective, it's quick. I
Yeah,
turn
yeah. I
on a
mean,
good record, it's just like
yeah,
immediate sensation, which is super nice.
right. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
There's some really good, like this record, for example, was the first real. This is a double album of Genesis, their
Oh, okay.
their second and third record, I believe, and it's the first real record I got into, and that kind of set my
Oh,
journey off into the. That was a
oh
year
wow.
ago,
Oh, cool.
summer of 2023. And that's what really got me into these really niche musics. But
Okay.
anyways, we've got 5 minutes. I don't want to get cut off by Zoom, so we're gonna do a massive loaded question, and then we'll be off on our ways. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Um, I need you to give me three categories. You can give me three of singer-songwriters you enjoy, three records, three movies, or you could do a movie, a record, and whatever categories you want. Three is a magic number, so you can do one, 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 or you can do three of one.
Okay.
And the kicker is to change someone's life. We're at 4 minutes, 34 seconds. Let's go.
Oh man. Three things that'll change someone's life. Okay, I'm just gonna do songs because.
Sounds good.
All right, so the first one is a song by Boy Genius called "Afraid of Heights," which I
Yeah.
think that song freaks me out. It's so good, and I think everyone should listen to that and let it have it sink in. Um, Another one, if you haven't listened to it, would be Bob Dylan's "Shelter from the Storm."
Yeah.
That's a life-changing song. And a third would be a song by Stevie Wonder called "As."
Okay, I haven't listened to that one. I've listened to the other two. Um, for Boy Genius, I'm more of a Satanist kind of person. I think that song's really fun and weird. Maybe off-putting to some. It was off-putting to me, but it's fun. It's you don't see that kind of direct kind of music anymore. And to people who don't see the metaphors in it, it just kind of freaks them out, which I like even more. If you can't see the beauty in it, then oh well. But some really good picks. As I need to check that out for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But I guess we still have 3 minutes, so I might as well let's do another question then, because we still have
Okay.
a little bit of time, right? Um, do you listen to Brian Eno?
Yeah, I love his whole deal. I love I got his those what are they called? Those cards. Oh gosh, I'm not remembering what they are, but the cards that he invented to if you're having a creative crossroads, you pull a card and it gives you a direct.
Oh, that's so cool.
I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, I'm a huge fan.
I was playing songs for airports yesterday
Yeah.
at a friend's house, and they weren't. It was during dinner, and it was pretty funny just to see their reactions to it. Yeah, and I put some Aphex Twin for them too, and they didn't. Have you listened to Lost Soul?
No.
Dude, you have to listen to Lost Soul. It's Mr. Scott. I believe he's Canadian actually. Um, it's still ambient, but it's a
Okay.
little bit slower paced, and it rises to higher heights. So it's really beautiful for like relaxing, I do it for studying. I
Oh,
don't
nice.
think you have much to study for in your age, but
Oh no,
I'm
that's
still
not true. Not true.
no.
I'm always trying to learn. Like if I'm playing a gig, I have to learn songs. I have to
Uh,
learn. Yeah, I'm always trying to memorize or learn something. So
so you
yeah.
gotta listen to some Lossel then.
Okay.
Well, I really appreciate you being on the show. It was super
Yeah.
fun.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm gonna go take a 4 hour nap and then I will edit this
Okay.
video.
Enjoy.
I definitely will. It's much
All right.
needed. But
Yeah.
anyways, it was great. I hope you make your way down to Atlanta relatively soon. Love to
Yeah,
see you
that'd be great.
sometime.
All right.
Um, have a good day.
Take care.
You too. Bye bye.